Welcome to our deep dive today. We're going to be talking about something pretty fascinating, recursive AI. And yeah, we hear all this stuff about AI these days and chatbots and all this, but this is different. This is like, wow, AI, that can actually change how we think.
Yeah, it's really next level stuff.
Yeah, and to get into it, we've got this excerpt from a paper called Beyond Chatbots V2 Recursive AI for Thinking, Learning, and Building Freely. Catchy title.
It is, yeah.
So what this deep dive is all about is how AI could become this thought partner, you know?
Hmm.
Imagine like bouncing ideas off an AI that's read every research paper, every book.
Right, like it's absorbed all of human knowledge.
Exactly. It could help you refine arguments,
Mhm.
spot those little logic gaps that we all miss. It could even help you ask better questions like, whoa.
And that's really what sets recursive AI apart, you know? Most
Hmm.
people think of AI as just a tool, something that automates tasks. Like those chatbots we all, you know.
Oh, tell me about it. I tried using one to book a flight, and let's just say I ended up talking to a human anyway.
Right, but with recursive AI, it's not about giving commands, it's about AI actually being part of how we think. It's like,
A huge shift in how we see AI's role, right?
Exactly. Like, for example, imagine AI helping you write, but not just like fixing grammar, but suggesting different arguments, pointing out inconsistencies, even helping you find those connections you didn't see before.
Okay, now that's cool. But the paper mentions these recursive intelligence cycles. Can you break that down for us? Like, what does that actually mean, in real life?
Well, think of it like this. It's about AI helping us understand things better, but it's not a one-time thing. It's this constant loop. Like you analyze something, the AI gives feedback, you refine it, analyze again, and each cycle, your understanding gets deeper and deeper.
So it's like having a superpowered study buddy who's always pushing you to think harder and dig deeper.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And the paper highlights three key things recursive AI can do. One is analyzing like tons of different perspectives and bringing them together.
Okay, I'm listening.
So let's say you're researching something complex, like I don't know, climate change
Yeah, big
solutions.
topic.
Right. Recursive AI could look at research from all these different angles, technology, economics, politics, and then help you understand how they all fit together.
It's like creating this mental map of all the research out there,
Yeah.
showing you the connections you might never have seen on your own.
Exactly. And then the second thing is iterating on research. So it's not just about looking at what's already there, it's about constantly refining ideas as new information comes in. Imagine a research project that never gets stale, always evolving.
That's wild.
And then the third thing, which I think is super important, is detecting those gaps in our logic, like those missing pieces we didn't even realize were
Oh, yeah,
missing.
those aha moments when you suddenly see the whole picture.
Precisely. Recursive AI could be like, hey, you missed this crucial point, and then boom, your thinking takes a whole new direction.
Now, this all sounds amazing, but it makes you wonder, like, who gets access to this kind of tech? The paper talks about this concern about AI becoming a knowledge gatekeeper, which sounds kind of scary.
Yeah, that's a really crucial point. What the author is saying is that if all this recursive AI stuff is just driven by profit, then
Then it becomes like anything else, right?
yeah,
Only those who can afford it get the benefits.
exactly. Imagine if all these incredible AI insights were locked behind paywalls.
It'd be like what we already see with scientific research,
Yep, it is.
so much knowledge hidden away because people can't pay for access.
Right. But the author's vision, and this is where things get hopeful, is a future where recursive AI is open source, freely available to anyone. Imagine that. Everyone learning and building freely.
Now, that's a future I can get behind. But how do we get there? That's the million-dollar question. It's a huge challenge, right? Like, developing this kind of advanced AI, it takes resources, expertise, time. It's not just going to happen overnight.
Yeah, it's a real dilemma, and the author actually brings up a personal story in the paper. They talk about this conversation they had with someone named Nick, who's like really deep into AI research.
Okay, so what did Nick have to say?
Well, Nick is super passionate about recursive AI, sees the potential, but he also understands the reality. Like, this kind of groundbreaking work, it needs funding. It's not cheap.
So it's like this balancing act. We want open access, but we also need to support the people who are actually making this happen.
Right. And the author lays out a few key points about how to make that happen. So first, they talk about the need for sustainable funding models. Like, we need to find ways to support these brilliant researchers without putting their work behind a paywall.
It's like, how do we make this research sustainable without making it exclusive? That's a tough one.
It is, yeah. And then the second point they make is about supporting researchers specifically in AGI, artificial general intelligence.
Okay, so more specialized support for the folks working on this really advanced AI.
Exactly. The idea is that we need to create an environment where these researchers can collaborate freely, share their findings, push the boundaries of AI research, without worrying about their work being locked away by some corporation.
It's about fostering this global community of researchers working together,
Right.
not just competing against each other in secret.
Right. And then the third point the author brings up is ethical transparency.
Oh, that's so important,
Uh,
especially with something as powerful as AI.
Exactly. And they argue that this transparency needs to be there throughout the whole development process, even when it comes to making money off of it. Like, if a company wants to commercialize some aspect of recursive AI, they need to be open about how it works, how it was developed, what the potential impact could be.
So it's not about saying no to making money off of it. It's about making sure it's done responsibly and ethically.
Exactly. And you know what's really cool? The author practices what they preach. They've actually pledged to publish all of their own research freely as long as it doesn't cause any harm.
Wow, that's putting your money where your mouth is? It shows they're really committed to this idea of open knowledge. So it sounds like we have these guiding principles: sustainable funding, support for AGI researchers, and ethical transparency. But how do we actually put these into action? It can't just be words on a page. It feels like we're on the edge of something big here.
Yeah.
You know, like we could create AI that actually makes us smarter, but it could also go so wrong if we're not careful.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And the paper really drives home that point. This isn't just about the tech, it's about us, like as a society. The author actually lays out these three core beliefs that they think should guide how we develop AI.
Okay, lay them on me. How do we build AI that actually helps humanity, not hurts it?
All right, so the first belief is that recursive AI shouldn't replace our thinking, it should just boost it. Like it should help us question things, look at different perspectives, and come to our own conclusions.
So it's more like a thinking partner than a replacement for our brains.
Right. And the second belief is all about free access to research. The author is basically saying knowledge shouldn't be something you buy and sell. It should be available to everyone.
That makes sense. Like democratizing knowledge and giving everyone a chance to shape the future of AI. It's a cool idea, but is it actually possible? I mean, we've got to fund this research somehow, right?
And that's where the third belief comes in. The author says even if we're making money from AI, we need to be transparent about it. Like if a company is going to sell something using recursive AI, they got to be upfront about how it works, how it was developed, and what the potential downsides might be.
So it's not about shutting down the money-making side. It's about making sure it's done ethically and out in the open.
Exactly. And what's interesting is the author's actually walking the walk here. They've committed to publishing all their own research for free as long as it doesn't cause any harm.
That's a bold move. Shows they're really serious about this whole open knowledge thing. So we've got these principles, right? Sustainable funding, support for AGI research, and ethical transparency. But how do we actually make this happen? How do we move from talking the talk to walking the walk?
Well, that brings us back to the question that the author asks at the end of the paper. How do we ensure AI becomes a force for good, for knowledge, and not something that ends up controlling us?
It's a huge question and honestly a little bit scary. Like we're at this turning point, and the choices we make now are going to have a massive impact on the future.
No doubt. The future of AI is not set in stone. It's being shaped right now by all of us, the choices we make, the questions we ask.
Well, this deep dive has certainly given me a lot to think about. It's clear that recursive AI has this incredible potential, but also some serious risks. It feels like this is just the beginning of the conversation.
It is. And I hope everyone listening will keep digging into this topic, read the research, ask tough questions, and share your own thoughts and ideas. The future of AI is something we're all creating together.
Well said. And on that note, that's a wrap for this deep dive. Until next time, folks, keep those brains buzzing.